Hello and welcome to a special series of Blocktalk, which we're calling Blocktalk Explores. These quick listen episodes will be split by topic area, as our guests, who are all industry leaders in Scotland, will be discussing three specific industry topics. Topic number one is education and awareness of the industry and what property factors do. Number two is recruitment within the industry and any challenges that they see. And the third one is customer care. We'll release 2 episodes in week 1, and the third will be released the following week. We hope you enjoy the series, and as always, it would be great to hear your feedback. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Blocktalk podcast. We're doing Blocktalk Explores, and in this episode we're talking to Laura Bradley and Audrey Murphy about customer care. Laura is the operations manager at Highland Residential. She has 15 years of experience working in the private letting sector. Laura is focused on giving the best service to all her customers and has recently completed a Property Mark Level 6 qualification in residential lettings and property management for Scotland. Audrey is the Interim Director of Governance and Business Improvement at Albine Housing. She joined Albine in Feb 22, armed with knowledge and experience from previous roles in a variety of housing associations across Glasgow, leading operational and strategic frontline services in a senior management role. Previous to the last 20 years working within the housing sector, Audrey worked for 9 years within residential services for a mental health charity. So wow, lots of experience there from both. How are you doing today?
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much for inviting us on. It's my first time in this environment, so quite excited.
Good, excellent. Okay, so we'll crack on with customer service. Okay, so how is customer service changing?
Okay, I'll pick this one up then. So I think the customers have evolved in terms of online presence. So again, when we talk about like our roles within our teams, I think customers are as well. So, they were forced to do everything online, to do online shopping, whereas, that kind of 2 years or 18 months of not being able to do physical things actually has had a knock-on effect, and it's evolved how people do things. So there was motivation for us to do things. So customers email a lot more, online portals, apps, that customer service. It doesn't replace somebody picking up the phone and having a phone call and a conversation, but we have seen an increase in emails and that correspondence. We've launched the portal a couple of years ago, and it's quite interesting to see how many people, the footfall on that as well. When we're asking the question, do you use the portal? Yeah, I log in, and actually the benefits of that as well. Whereas pre the pandemic, that wasn't an opportunity. It wasn't there for us. We didn't use it, and actually, it's had a really positive outlook. Okay.
Audrey, any views on that?
Yeah, I agree with what Laura said. I think, I think in many ways, organisations, we were all forced, weren't we, to, how do we connect if we can't do it physically? How do we provide services without turning up at an office or, going, in a front door? So that has opened up, and I think we're still learning. I think we're still, we're still there. We're still kind of gravitating. I mean, I never used things like Alexa or any, I use all apps now. In fact, if something doesn't have an app, I find myself questioning why. Whereas before, I think I probably only had about 2 apps on my phone, but now it's like full of them. So I think it has, I think it does change the way that you operate. Of course, it's not for everyone. I think there is, there's still elements of our society that we we need to make sure that they don't feel isolated or excluded. And we have things in place for that to make sure that people are not getting left behind. But what I think it does do is for that online portal or apps or email or anything technical that people can find their own way of how they want to communicate, it does free up time for our staff to be able to give more to those who don't have that way, and they want the phone call, they want the visit. That's what makes a big difference.
Yeah. No, I get it. I think going back to the app thing, I don't know what it is, but whenever you buy anything now, or whenever I buy anything, it's like, okay, can I control that from wherever I am in the world? Is the question I always ask. So I had I had a bathroom redone the other day, or a while back, actually within the last kind of 12 months, and the guy was putting in underfloor heating, and I went, well, okay, you're not doing it unless I can control it from anywhere in the world. Why do you want to control it from anywhere in the world? Well, one, I want to be able to switch the damn thing off if I've left it on, and two, if I'm on my way home, I want to be able to switch it on. Yeah, so that the world has just entirely changed. Okay, actually, so customer service has changed dramatically. I think we all agree with that, but that has got to brought its challenges. So, what do you view as the biggest challenge in providing or continuing to provide a good level of customer service?
I think for me, I mean, I've worked in frontline customer service for many years, as you said earlier, and I think for me, it's always been about two things: managing customer expectations and making sure customers are kept in the loop. For me, that has always been the two main things, because for me as a customer, I don't like it if I'm expecting a call or I'm expecting some information and I don't get it. It's annoying, it's frustrating. And I like to know what to expect. So I like my expectations to be managed, because I might be thinking I'm getting X and I get Y, and that makes me unhappy. So I think they've always been the same. But I think the challenge now is customers, including myself, I think we want everything faster. We want faster answers, even to issues that we know are not routine. I think we're used to getting that instant gratification, we don't even have to Google anymore. You can just ask Alexa or whatever, Siri, to get you things. And I think customers, that change, that demand of they want it in their hand, they want the answer in their hand, and we have to think of what their question's going to be. So I think the challenge is going forward is to get more and more anticipatory of what our customers want to know, what they need the answers to, and provide it before sometimes they've even asked it. So I still think it is about managing expectations and, keeping that communication.
It's a fair point, isn't it? I mean, I do it myself. I mean, we obviously have SLAs for our support teams and things like that. And if it's not a what we would call a category 1 call, which means that everything, nobody can do anything kind of thing, then we have SLAs that can go on for 24 hours or whatever for a response. But still, certainly mine. And this has changed over the last 2 years. When you send an email, you expect to get a response. I mean, and that's not what email is. I mean, email is a digital form of writing a letter. When you wrote a letter, you wait 2 weeks to get a response. Do you know what I mean? So there is just that. And maybe it's just that I'm outrageously impatient and getting old, and I might be dead by the time I get an answer. I don't know. But there's something in me that goes, why have I not had it? Like, for instance, I'm having an ongoing battle with my electrical supplier at the moment, because my house, the house I live in just now, was renovated and it had 2 meters. It had 1 meter, but it's been replaced. And I'm getting estimated bills for both. So they're billing me and then telling me that if I cancel my DD, they're going to come after me with late payment fees. But no one will answer my emails. Yeah. So, and I've sent an email 2 days ago, and I expect a response that day. Still haven't got one. So I'm now going to escalate that, obviously. But do you know what? It is just that instant response. Laura, what do you think?
I completely agree. I'm having issues with a digital provider and our reception, and I can't get to. So I'm a bit old school. I like to pick up the phone and have a conversation, because I know that that conversation is recorded, or I've got a name of somebody and I go, actually, I spoke to somebody, and I can't get through to a person. And I think that is, so whilst an email will go to a central mailbox and be distributed between a number of staff, that there's a difficulty that people aren't answering the phones as well. And I think a lot of things that we do, if we have really, really good customer service, you will remember that, and I think a lot of the times I had an issue with my bins. So I called the lady at the council. The next day, that problem was resolved, and I actually said to the people delivering it, I said, do you know what, that lady was phenomenal on the phone. And it's all about, you will praise and recognize good customer service. So I think in everything that we do, we need to be delivering that element of customer service. And in the same with yourself and like the email, I think acknowledging an email in itself is, even if you've got an auto response to say, we will deal with you in this time frame, I just think that's, whilst it isn't a human side, it is, because somebody's put that message on, and it might be an automated, but that your email has been received. I think that's something else. We did very early on make sure we had the automated reply to an email, so that you actually knew that it was received. I think that's half the battle. Sometimes I send an email, I'm like, did it even get there? Because I haven't had the automated response.
Yeah. And also that by that automated response saying we'll contact you with an X, you get an expectation set, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I think we all understand that. I think that the challenge is now that, and I think with COVID, I mean, I was watching the news the other day, and Thames Water, or it was no, it wasn't Thames Water. It was Southeast Water. I've already imposed a hosepipe ban because they cannot cope with the demand of everyone drinking water because they're working from home, because they used to obviously work in London or something. I don't know, right? But because people are working at home so much, from a factoring perspective, I think they probably see more. When were you ever at home when the gardeners were coming around to do ground maintenance? Probably never. Okay, but it's human nature, I guess, to watch things and have a view on it and then send a message. Do you think the number of calls that you guys take has increased? And is it coming down?
I think so, but I think it's all about customer expectation as well, because also the grounds maintenance are not gardeners, so they're not going to go and prune your rose bush and things like that. Sure. And I think there's also that expectation on the customer. So people get it wrong. We're all open to human error. There are mistakes or things get missed, and myself or the grounds maintenance or even the some of the owners go, actually, we got that wrong, I'm sorry. But it's that expectation, it's knowing what is to be expected. We also provide a service called assisted garden maintenance for some of our customers within Alban, and that again it's a service that is delivered to them. It's to support them, and again, that's where the grounds maintenance help out as well. So they're the ones that probably have got a little bit more particular, because they are going into their gardens and they are looking after their gardens. Whereas, you're out there, you're looking, you've seen the grass being cut, but your expectation is, why aren't they trimming that? Why aren't they cropping that kind of thing? I think there is an increase of calls, more so as the growing season starts. I would say it's more seasonal. Because actually the complaints about your grounds maintenance during the winter is minimal, because it doesn't grow. So it's mainly litter, rubbish, things like that, fly tipping. But during the summer, there's much, people are outside more. It's lighter all the time. I think there's also the expectation that you want to be in your garden having a barbecue, and you see your guests arrive, and you want your area to look nice too.
Yeah, sure. Sure. No, I get it. Understand. Okay. So, last question on the customer service. So we know that kind of difficult conversations are part of life. You've got to have them. Yeah. And customer, supplier, or partner relationships within kind of factors providing services to their clients. How do you manage difficult conversations? And also, how do you help your employees cope with that?
I think conversations have been getting more difficult recent times with cost of living crisis and inflation increases. People are worried. We attempt to provide a solution-focused based approach. So if they want a payment plan or they want to discuss anything like that, we also signpost a lot of our customers to support pages, either on our website or other support networks like CAB. And I think a lot of we do a lot of in-house training, so not a role play exercise, but actually what has been an experience, how did you deal with that? So we kind of we diagnose how that conversation was about and how they would feel if it was them, or because actually the team that are in place are phenomenal at what they do, and actually they have the empathy and the understanding, but also they know when it isn't. So the example of grounds maintenance aren't gardeners, that is a conversation had time and time again, because it's the expectation. So it's going, actually, this is what the requirements are of your development. This is what is being done. And actually, a lot of it is, knowledge is power, really. So actually, if you can explain it in a way and you can empower people to get to the answer, I think that does help as well.
Okay. Audrey, any views?
I think it is. It comes down to what we talked about first, is about that managing that expectation. Customers will have an opinion or a view on, if you're setting out, from their title deeds, or what you're saying their ground maintenance spec is, and or if you're you're engaged in a conversation about their payment plan. That conversation becomes difficult, whether it's their rent or their factoring fees. If they want to pay 50 pence a week, and it takes 20 years to repay that, that's a difficult conversation, because that means two expectations are just not met at all in the middle. And I suppose we try to work from a rent first approach, or and to talk to people, particularly our obviously tenants, because that is important. That keeps the roof over your head. And that's why we really encourage them to go to any support agencies, to look at who else can wait. But you need to keep you and your family with a roof over your head. And we will obviously engage in affordable plans to keep people on track, so that they don't fall down a rabbit hole of thinking they can't cope. So I think what Laura said, it is about managing expectations, but the biggest thing is just about listening and see the empathy. I mean, we'll have staff members who are going through the cost of living, who are going through high increased fuel bills. So people are getting it. We're all getting it, and it's just about making sure we've got enough knowledge about who's doing what to support, what they can access, what they can go and claim for. So filling, as Laura said, knowledge is definitely power, about what is available locally and in our network, so that we can get people help. That's our biggest thing. It's just a signposting where we can't help, making sure that people get access to other services.
Good. Okay. Excellent. Thanks for that. Okay. So I think that kind of covers us for customer service. We do have one final question, and I hope you've read this one and you're expecting it. So I don't know who's going to go first either. So tell us something about you that people are generally surprised to find out about you.
Well, I'll go mine, because Laura's is shocking. Because I was shocked when she told me. But mine's is I'm a tourer caravanner. I love my caravan.
All right. Wow.
And for some people, I don't know why, but they don't seem to think that I fit the mold for being a caravaner. But I do love it. It's my happy place. You know, me and hubby go off, and we've got it sighted actually now in Fife, and anytime we can get there is just an absolute bonus, and I love it. I just filling up the water, and you know, I don't empty the toilet, and that's hubby's job. But I you know, I can tow the caravan and all that stuff. So yeah, I love it. I just love it. So yeah, don't know why.
I don't know if there is a typical caravaner. To be fair, I'm not sure. My I had a caravan actually when my children were quite young, and I came down the Kearney Braes from Perth. And it pushed me down the hill, and I pulled in at the Gleneagle station car park and turned to my ex-wife now and said, "This thing is getting sold when I get home." and that was its first outing, and I have never been in one since, because I nearly wiped out an entire family. So it scared the crap out of me. Although I have a twin brother, and he's got a new motorhome appearing. I don't know if he's buying it from Nicola Sturgeon or not. Actually, better cut that bit. I'll start that again. My brother is a keen. He's keen on the outdoors and everything like that. He spends his entire life doing that. And he's got a new motorhome appearing, and he's asked if I want to go away with it for a weekend, of which the answer was park it outside a hotel and I'll stay in the hotel. I know, but caravanning, fab, but yeah, it scared the crap out of me. You would probably have handled it better than me, but I just
Well, I tell you, as I said, we've done it on and off, but probably about 6 years ago when the kids were up, my daughter used to kind of babysit, the young one, because she was like 20 and he was 14, and my dad would nip in, but we loved it. It was just great. We've got friends who got a motorhome now, but they had a tourer caravan at the time, and we just love it. And we've drove all over. My dream is to go drive it across Europe. That's what I'm hoping to do one day when I get to go retiring. That's how far can you get in the world with a caravan? That's my dream.
No, to be fair, you can go, if you get to Europe, you can go pretty far, can't you?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Cool. And Laura, yours is apparently shocking. So what's coming?
I wouldn't say it's shocking. I think I'm a grandmother of 3. I think that's probably what I always say. So everyone goes, what? And so I've got 2 stepdaughters, and I have 3 grandchildren. And one is 15. She's 15. And then I've got a 13-year-old grandson and a 4-month-old granddaughter. But whenever I talk about my grandchildren, everyone goes, what? You've got grandchildren?
Yes.
So yeah.
You do not look old enough to have grandchildren. Definitely for sure. So
that's why when Laura first told me, I was like, what cream do you use, and what's your beauty regime? So yes, I always thought that was a good one. That Laura's obviously had an awful lot of shocked faces in her time when she's been telling people she's a grandmother.
Yeah, so what I didn't anticipate is, so I'm Granny Laura. So when my stepdaughter, my eldest stepdaughter, had Ava, I needed to have a grandparent name. And I was like, right, okay, I didn't want to be grandma, and I didn't want to be nana, and I didn't want to be nanny. So I was like, I'll be Granny Laura, because if I say it quick enough, you miss the granny and you just get the Laura.
Yeah, that's
so 15 years ago, that was okay. What I didn't anticipate is they now know that if they call me Gran, I age about 80 years and I want to crawl into a hole. So 15 and a 13-year-old quite occasionally call me Gran, just to see the effect that it has on me. So, yeah.
Whereas I'm going the other way. I'm actually only 35 and I dye my hair grey every day.
I'm going to steal that line, actually. Nice.
I only say that because it's the reverse of 53, right? So, mind. Okay, Audrey, Laura, thanks very much for coming on. That's been absolutely brilliant. Thanks for your insights.
Thank you.